Basically what that is, it's a full-scale community of creators working together, building something cool for the YouTube community. So there's going to be probably maybe a change in ad contents and some things, just with foreclosure. If you want to join the Flixster community, I left a link in the info. Definitely, it's worth it if you are interested in expanding on your YouTube ability, and I definitely enjoyed it. So, with that being said, let's get on to the video. Hello everyone, and welcome to this week's Comic Book Wednesday on July 31st, 2013. Yes, the end of July already, guys. Jeez, it's been a long year so far. We're already in July. That means it's almost Christmas. Tomorrow's gonna be Christmas, guys. I promise. Yeah, we have only 3 and then, well, 4 technically, but 3 comics this week. But let's take a look at the other stuff I got. Clearly you can see I have a package from Amazon. I thought I'd open it with you guys, see what I got. It'd be kind of cool. Whoa. The Rorschach pop figure. Yes, I saw that they started releasing these. I was like, I have to get the Rorschach one, because Rorschach's my favorite from Watchmen. Yeah, that's pretty cool for the thing, and I guess, people get different faces too. I mean, there's probably an infinite number of ones you can get, but still, I'm only getting one, so there's that. I like it. Well, it might not be infinite number, but it looks like it could be different. They could have done that, make different versions. And there also is a Dr. Manhattan one for people. And I promise he doesn't have a penis in it. The Flashpoint Paradox. Now, this came out just yesterday on Blu-ray and DVD. Yesterday. I got it today. Look at that. Thank you, Amazon. Yeah. Basically, this is the Flashpoint miniseries written by Jeff Johns. Made into a movie. Animated movie from DC Animated, which they usually do good stuff, I have to admit. And I'm looking forward to it because I'm actually getting a package that has, I believe, the Flashpoint, the whole graphic novel in it. So I should be able to read through it and make sure it's the same thing. And, whoa, as you can clearly see, Marvel Zombies, written by Robert Kirkman. If you don't know who he is right now, then you're not in the media, clearly. But I've never read a Marvel Zombies comic other than the Halloween special, which was okay. It was pretty boring, but it was decent enough. What else? Oh, we also have our comic shop news this week. And this week we talk about Infinity. Yes. Infinity, and what's it's about. What you need to know before you go into Infinity, and they give you a whole story about it. It's very interesting. I won't want to spoil it for you guys, because it's definitely a good read, but check it out, definitely. It's definitely worth the time to read. Well, let's get into the comics now. We've been talking too much about other stuff and looking at other things. First, we have Batman 0 Year Director's Cut number 1. Now, it's just like last week with Superman Unchained Director's Cut. It shows you all the original drawings by Greg Capullo, and then the original script by Scott Snyder, and then probably shows all the variants or whatever. I'm looking forward to it because I want to get more into the 0 Year story, and it definitely will help me if I know the original basis for the story. But let's get on to the actual comics this week. This week, we have What If AVX number 4, the conclusion to this series, this mini-series, and I'm thinking, I hope it will be good. I mean, there's already something wrong with the cover. I mean, she's alive on the cover, but it's a what-if story, so it really doesn't matter, and we haven't seen that yet in the story, so let's hope we get that in the story. Next, we have Injustice number 7. I love the Injustice series so far. It is excellent. Tom Taylor does a perfect job writing. I'm looking forward to see more of it. It's been a month, so I've been begging for something good, extremely good, and I hope this brings it because they usually do. They usually don't suck, They've all been actually pretty good, and I'm looking forward to see all the characters bring up, and the turmoil of what happened in the last issue with a character dying, Nightwing. So let's look forward to this issue. But finally, probably the biggest comic of the week, Batman Annual #2, a direct tie-in to Zero Year. I don't know anything about it. I don't know if it's going to connect to the last issue that just came out like 3 weeks ago or not, but I definitely know that this will be good. Scott Snyder always does a good job. I just hope it doesn't turn into, story. But that being said, I'm going to read these comics and get back to you in about 2 seconds. Alright guys, we've read the comics. Now let's talk about, well, I've read them. I don't know if you've read them or not, but I'm going to tell you if you should read them. So, why don't we get into it. But first, we got to talk about the director's cut to Batman Zero Year, even though it isn't part of the top of the week. It's as good as I think it could possibly be, of course, because I love the first issue of Zero Year. And it's basically just expanding on what the knowledge already is and giving more of the details of what happened or what Scott Snyder wanted to originally do and whatnot. And also, it's a couple good notes from Scott Snyder about what he feels about the Zero Year series and what he wants it to be, which are great. Excellent storyline things to work into the Zero Year. And just how he feels about, what he thinks about Year One and all these other Batman books and why they're not rehashes of them or saying that this is going to be better than them. He's basically just explaining what the Zero Year is compared to the other ones, which is a brilliant idea for Scott Snyder to do, because you don't want to say that this is better than something else and turn out that it's actually worse. He's just saying this is something different than the other things, which in my opinion is great. I already liked it. I already like it so far. Year One is, of course, a great book, which you should go read, definitely. I think it's definitely worth it to read it. And Zero Year, I definitely can say, is looking forward good. It's got about a couple more issues left. And we're going to talk about one of them today, actually, kind of one of them. So, but before we get into that, let's talk about the other issues that came out this week. Issue 4 of What If AVX. This issue was great. I love this issue. Basically, coming to its conclusion, what it could basically become, and everything from there. I liked it a lot. It was a great issue. I wouldn't go too far to say I loved it, but it had a lot of compelling moments in it. There's a lot of death in it. I'm surprised that they got away with a lot of this stuff, but then again, it is a what-if story, so you can go all balls to the wall with it. A couple of the deaths are kind of bullshit in the way, too. There's a death of Spider-Man in there, and Nova dies pretty freaking stupidly, honestly, even though that's not a word, stupidly. Ridiculously, in a way. Yeah, Magneto kills him in a way, which, in a way, he should have just done that at the beginning anyway, but okay. And Captain America and Iron Man brutally get murdered together. Holy crap. Yeah, and the ending is kind of confusing at the beginning, and then you see at the end on how it works out. And, it's a nice ending. I really enjoyed the ending, even though it can get confusing at parts. But, a good book, definitely. Injustice, Gods Among Us #7. Awesome, awesome, awesome book. Definitely. I cannot agree with this book more, how great it is. And it's still good. Honestly, it's a good book, and this issue was great as well. Basically, it's more taking place of... The beginning is more of Billy Bastion trying to figure out what people think. He's doing a documentary, and then he asks Shazam what he thinks is going on is right or wrong. The ending is actually kind of different, too. I wasn't suspecting the ending to be all that crazy. Sorry, I'm fixing something. I wasn't expecting the ending to be all this craziness in the way that it's weird. And of course, there's characters who are in this comic who aren't in the game, but possibly will become DLC. Who knows? Martian Manhunter just came out yesterday, in fact, and he's a great character in the game. But it's really hard to tell what really is going to happen next, because the ending is just too shocking to kind of know what's going to happen. And this guy talking to Batman who you don't know, but you don't know. And, of course, you find out that there is a survivor in the Metropolis attack, and it's not a shock who it is, but there's a survivor. But overall, I like the book. Finally, Batman Annual number 2. This features the Anchorlesses, Arkham Asylum's history, the Anchories, I apologize, not Anchorlesses. What the hell is an Anchorlessie? The Anchories, the origin of Arkham Asylum, kinda, and part of Zero Year, which explains a little bit more, which is great. So, what happens is Batman is taken into Arkham. I don't know why, they never explain why, but he's just taken into Arkham, and it's it's the start of this first dude's day. His name was Eric or something, I don't remember, but he has to take Batman in, and of course, ensues from there. Dr. Arkham, I don't know if this was all a test or whatever, but Dr. Arkham takes him through and tests him through this Arkham. I guess it's to test the stability of Arkham, possibly. I think that might want to be. I'm not sure. They don't really explain that. But the Anchories is this entity, this older patient of Arkham who hates Batman, and for a different reason than most villains do. And it's very interesting. I really did enjoy the story. And the Zero Year tie-in is actually pretty cool, but it doesn't really tie into the full story of Zero Year. It's just a glimpse of something that happened during the Zero Year, which it doesn't need to... Hopefully, unless they explain it more in the regular series of Zero Year, it doesn't really need to be explained more, if you get my drift. If you get my drift, that's honestly what I mean. But I like this issue a lot, definitely. It's nice to see a lot of different things being taken towards Batman as well. And I liked it a lot. Yeah, definitely it's a good issue. Definitely for Batman fans and for different readers, all sorts of types. Sorry, I'm fixing the tape back here. For different readers, all sorts of types, definitely. What were my favorite 3, though? Well, we only really have 3 because the director's cut doesn't count towards this 3. So we already know what the top 3 has inside of it. However, what made it to the top and what was the weakest of the 3? Well, I don't really know go into detail, but I can seriously just show you one by one each of them. Number 3, AVX issue number 4. What If AVX issue number 4. Again, a great ending. The characters dying in different ways. A couple questions for the ending, though. How it kind of worked, but at the same time doesn't really need to matter. What happened to a couple characters actually comes up to the top of my head now. Because they don't show you everyone who dies, but they don't show you everyone who lived at the same time. So it's kind of interesting how that... And really, that's pretty much it. Really interesting story, and I'm glad it ended this way. Definitely thanks for issue 2. Next, Injustice Gods Among Us number 7. Of course, this Injustice story is excellent. Tom Taylor does an excellent job writing, and it brings out more of the characters and more of this parallel universe that works well for this series. It definitely works greater, and it helps define the story of Injustice more, even though it is a prequel. I'm just looking forward to the fact when they get farther into the comic series, when it becomes after the game. In a way, I want to see that. I can't wait to see what they're going to do with that, which, again, they haven't gotten that far yet. They're still working on everything that happens before the game. And finally, we all guessed it. Batman Annual number 2. Excellent book. I very, very enjoyed it. You need to read it to really understand why I enjoyed it, but then again, you don't need to at the same time. It just works for itself. But let's talk about the comics coming out for next week and the week after. Like I said last week, I am going out of town next week. I am going to Florida, actually. Not just out of town, I'm just going to Florida. So, I cannot film, or unless someone can show me a comic book store in the Disney World, I can't film any comics, honestly. Yeah, there's no way I can really just do it because I'm gonna be on Disney property. I don't have a car to go move around. I'm stuck there, really. Unless Disney, of course, has a comic book shop, which I don't believe they do. That would be very cool, but at the same time, be very weird on why they would have one. But with that being said, why don't we talk about what's coming out next week? And then I'll talk about the stuff that comes out the week after, so you can expect that. I'll try to put out a couple videos next week to see if I can get something in there. A couple of my graphic novel reviews. Definitely, I might be filming a review for this because I did read it and I enjoyed it very much. But again, that'd be kind of like a retro review, I guess. Very good book. I really did enjoy it. I'll tell you that. That's all I think of it so far, but I won't give you like a score or anything. I give scores in those reviews. If you guys never seen them before, yes, I do give a score for graphic novel collections. Yeah, but that's pretty much all I do for it. And I might put a couple vlogs in there of Disney or stuff or something other than that. I mean, just you might just get filled with content next week. Who knows? I don't. Anyway, let's talk about what's coming out next week. DC only has one book next week. It doesn't even count as a book because it's another director's cut. Director's cut? A director's cut. I apologize for my horrible pronunciation of words. Anyway, Justice League, the Trinity War Director's Cut #1 comes out next week, which should be good. It's nice to see it go away from a Scott Snyder book into a Jeff Johns book to see how he kind of writes in a different style than Scott Snyder probably does, and see how that works, and also kind of see how David Finch's artwork is differently than Greg Capullo's and Jim Lee's, and see the original designs for it. And I want to see the different story, see if there's an actual better war than there is right now in the Trinity War. But Marvel also does have a lot of books coming out. Let's see, 3 to be Pacific. Oh my gosh. Pacific. You know what? 3 to be the 3 that I want. That's what the 3 that I want to pick next week. Those are Avengers AI #2. I love the first issue of Avengers AI, and I cannot wait for this next issue. I'm hoping they expand it more, and god damn it, it was so good. After that, Deadpool Kills Deadpool #2. Very interested to see how this book goes. I like the first issue, and it's going to be interesting to see what the next issue is going to be about. We know it's about someone trying to kill Deadpool and the rest of the Deadpools across the universe, but how is it going to pan out? Finally, we have Hunger #2. I wasn't the biggest fan of issue 1 of Hunger, but I'm kind of interested to see if they finally get down to the Ultimate Universe. For some reason, I don't see that happening yet, but then again, I never know. Well, that being said, let's go into the week after that, since I'm gonna be back from that next week. I'll probably pick up all the issues from the week prior to that and put it into the next one's thing. But with that being said, let's talk about the issues. The Marvel only has one book coming out that week, but it's probably going to be the biggest book out that week, and that is Infinity #1. Holy crap, it's here, Infinity. The storyline we've all been waiting for this year. Age of Ultron is past, and we're going to see how Infinity takes over when the Avengers go into space and Thanos is trying to take over Earth while no one is there, which is going to be very interesting. But that doesn't mean that DC is taking a back role from that. When we get there, we first have JLA #7, which is the fourth part. I apologize again. Fourth part of the Trinity War. We get to see probably more fighting in here, and let's see how it actually gets more intense and stuff. It's gonna be very interesting to see what happens in this Trinity War. After that, we have Nightwing #23. We're gonna see more of Nightwing's progression against the Prankster and how Chicago, them fighting together, him trying to get Tony Zuko at the same time. The last issue was great. I really adored the issue. I can't wait to see more of it. After that, we have Batman number 23. Yes, the third issue to the Zero-Year tie-in. Finally getting more and more in-depth with Batman. Hopefully we'll see more, because the last issue wasn't as good as I thought it would be. Hopefully this issue's a lot better. Maybe it's going to incorporate a little bit more than we thought it would, with a lot of Arkham and the Bat suit and coming up with the actual Bat name, because Bruce Wayne still hasn't technically become a Batman. He's just been hunting down the Red Hood gang, which is basically the main plot of this. He's trying to get rid of the Red Hood gang and trying to defeat them. But probably my biggest book, well, maybe not my biggest, probably Infinity is my biggest book of that week, but my biggest book for DC, Superman Unchained number 3. I love the series. I've been picking up a variant for every issue. I'm probably going to get another variant. It depends if they're going to have variants for it or not. If they're going to do that stupid black and white variant they do for most of their DC's comics, which would be dumb. Except for Batman. Batman, they usually do different ones. But I'm looking forward to it. I want to see where the story is going to lead up for. If you haven't read the story yet, you're missing out. You are missing out, man. Oh, yeah. Missing out. I apologize for yawning. I apologize for yawning for most of this video. I noticed that I've been doing that. I've just been very tired lately. I've been busy preparing for the trip next week. I'm not even kidding. It's been crazy. But, with that being said, this concludes the Comic Book Wednesday for this week. Again, understand there is going to be no Comic Book Wednesday next week, but I'm going to try to scatter in some videos in there to make up for it. You know, I'm behind on a lot of my graphic novel reviews that I've been trying to catch up on. And I've been, lacking on a bunch of other videos. I've just been putting out one a week, which is good. Constantly putting out a video once per week is good. At least I'm putting content out there. But I want to put more out there for you guys. I want to try to make 2 videos a week, which will be good for me. I need to do 2 videos a week. Getting more content to you. That's my goal. Man. Of course, this series is probably going to continue for the rest of my YouTube series. Probably this will be the one that stays, but I'm going to see what I can do. So, with that being said, thank you again for watching this Comic Book Wednesdays. I apologize for rambling, messing up. There's not really going to be any edits because I'm really busy today as well. But, with that being said, again, thank you for watching, and hopefully you enjoy your comics. Again, leave me in the comments below, what comics should have picked up? What comics should I have read? And I'll tell you if I'm going to check it out, or if I've read it and I have my opinions on it already, and why I don't really read them in this week. So, with that being said, thank you for watching again, for the 3rd or 4th time saying it, and this is Sonic Fable, signing out.